This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Tuesday. Could not be happier than to welcome in former Indiana basketball coach Mike Davis. Coach Davis, thanks a lot for taking the time and welcome in.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Todd here as well. Todd Leary, of course, former broadcaster during your time in Indiana. Todd, some good days, man. We talk about that a lot. Some of your
We do. How you doing, Coach? It's great to hear from you.
I'm doing great, Todd. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I got to play golf with Fish a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you the majority of our conversation was dominated around Mike Davis. So we had a lot of fun. He told me a lot of good stories.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had a really good time.
Todd was just telling me about some infamous poker games that may have gone on in the basement back in the day.
They had it rigged up, bro.
Yeah, we definitely had it rigged. The funny part was I was telling him about Antoine, I think, was probably 2 or 3 years old at the time. And to see him now and to see him out on the court and how big he is, obviously it just tells how old we are now. But, man, what a fun thing. You've got a fantastic opportunity, not just to be a Division I basketball coach, but to get to coach your son. And man, he is certainly talented.
Yeah, you know, it's really great because my oldest son, Mike, is on my staff. So I have my assistant coach, my son, and Antoine plays for me. So I think I may be the only coach in the country that has a son playing for him and a son working for him.
Man, that's got to be fun at home as long as everything goes well. But if things don't go well, that's not only – Mom might be waiting at home when you come home at night.
About Antoine, I can tell you, and you remember back in the day, he was always running around, being into things, and he's real independent now. The day he graduated from high school, he moved into his own apartment. I guess he was tired of mom and dad. So he's been on his own, and he's kind of called his own shots because he stayed by himself. And it's just been great to have both of them with me. It was great just to see his development. You know, I try to get him to compete against who he was yesterday. That's our motto: compete against who you were yesterday. And so it's hard to get kids to do that, or get players to do that, or get people to do that. So he's really worked hard. He's getting bigger this off season. He only weighed 157 pounds last year.
Oh my gosh!
157 pounds. So I told him yesterday. I said, man, imagine you at 175. You know, it's just amazed what you've done at 157. And most people he go against are 30 to 40 pounds heavier than he.
For sure.
So he's making the commitment this summer in the weight room. He's at 160, a blaze of 163 right now. And hopefully he can get about 10 more pounds before the season starts.
Well, as Todd said, I know it's got to be proud for him, but man, he's been killing it out there too, just lighting it up, filling that basket up. That's got to be just proud for you to see him out there on the floor while you're coaching, no less.
It is, but you know, it was really difficult. I try to get a lot of schools to recruit him, but again, when you walk in the gym and see a kid 6'1" weighing 142 pounds, you don't really think much of him. And you kind of overlook his skills. So he's really been fortunate to work with guys like John Lucas and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. But I just think him being in that environment growing up around the Indiana team, around the UAB team, and then the Texas Southern team, gave him kind of an advantage for us, you know, going on the road, sitting on the bench, being in the locker room, being in the hotel. That was a big advantage for a player to have, and he's got that advantage.
You know, we talk about this. It sounds like everything's really happy right now. Your career's going well, and it's a road to get there. But man, oh man, would you have traded anything? I know it was a rocky road until you got to this point, but well, I don't know if you would trade anything for where you are right now.
Oh, never. You know, you always go from like smaller, mid to high, and I went from high, mid to it prepared the players that I coached at Texas Southern to see what big time, basketball it is, because I had that experience to show them and tell them. And so it's been a great, great, great ride for me and my family.
And watching you when you were at Texas Southern, it was actually fun. It was fun to watch you succeed there. It was fun to watch you take a program that I hadn't really heard of, and all of a sudden, oh, who's Texas Southern? And it's like you as a coach, I don't want to say that, but you grew up at Texas Southern, really, it seemed like.
I did, because I got a chance to coach players that was probably on his second or third chance and didn't have other opportunities because of their behavior. But they were really good basketball players. And through my experience at Indiana and UAB, I could understand those guys, and I understood where I was. And I was really happy there. I got a chance to work with Antoine like every day from like 8 to like 10 or 12, then go back to practice at 3. So at most jobs, you won't have an opportunity to do that. You have to just stay locked in on your team. You'd be in the office all day. And so I got a chance to do a lot of things with him, and that I didn't have a chance to do with my oldest son. But the players I had at Texas Southern, I understood them. They understood me. I could teach them and develop them because of where I've been before I got there. And so we had some really good players. I had some really good teams there. The year I left to come here, it would have been my best team I've ever had there, because and Antoine, I was joking about, I said, man, can you imagine playing in the SWAC? You're like, wow, that would have been a great ride, But he was excited about it. I had him and a 7'3" kid that transferred from Auburn. I mean, we had a really good team coming in, but I decided to come here.
You know what?
Well, I can assure you, I know who the biggest University of Detroit fan in the world is, because having you on the staff, Mike Jr. on the staff, and Antoine on the team, Tamilia, your beautiful wife, has to be the biggest Detroit fan in the world. And not only that, she's probably the best, nicest lady I've ever met.
I appreciate that. She's listening to you now as I speak. I have you on speakerphone. But,
well, I didn't know that, but I would have said it anyway.
Well, she missed the first year here because she was still in Houston. So she didn't get a chance to see Antoine play in any of his games until we got the conference. And I think she was here when he broke Steph Curry's record for the 3 points. But she missed a lot of games. And I told her she needs to just stay back in Houston because he was playing.
I bet you didn't
say that out loud.
I did.
Before I forget it, I've got a text into the show from Ryan up in Whitmore, Michigan. Says he just want to let Coach know he's a huge fan. He was born in Detroit, and he's a huge IU basketball fan. So there you go, Ryan. Something else that just occurred to me, Coach, is you've got to be the only coach in America in the history of basketball that followed Bob Knight and Dick Vitale. Not necessarily succession, but that's just an unusual stat.
Two really good coaches, 2 great successful guys, and they have the floor named after Dick Vitale here. So every day I walk in, I see the name on the floor. And I don't think they had the success since he's gone left that they had while he was here. Next year I got a really good team coming here, really good team. I got 4 grad transfers, and I got a big time transfer coming in that was like a 6'11" shooter. I need to put some other shooters around Antoine so we can kind of stretch the defense out. But we got a really good team coming next year.
And there cannot be a better feeling in the world when you have a team coming that you know you've got some good stuff coming. Now, unfortunately, we've got this weird life situation we've all been living through, the COVID pandemic, and I hope that for those teams that are like yourself that are looking forward to this season, that it's not dampen too much. But I'm hopeful, and it looks like things are hopefully going to turn in the right direction sooner rather than later.
Well, we've been really cautious here. We don't have any of our players on campus at all because I don't want to take any chance because no one really truly understands the virus and how it could affect certain people. And so I get a chance, though, to work Antoine out. We go 3 days in a row and take one off. But other than that, I just want to be real cautious about the whole approach. If we don't play in November or December and play in January, it's fine. They have to put it off for a year. I just want to make sure everybody's safe and healthy.
Right. You know, we talk about the recruiting changes, how it affects recruiting and coaches and all that. And of course it affects everybody, but there's a difference between a Power 5 school who has a lot more name recognition and a lot more resources than, say, a Detroit. This has got to be harder for you guys when it comes to recruiting.
Well, to be honest with you, I still have my best class here online. through phone calls. It's really hard to get players to come and visit you, especially when there's other schools. But remember, at Texas Southern, I did all my recruiting on the phone anyway, so I was kind of used to recruiting on the phone and things like that. So we've got our best class coming in, but a lot of other schools, I'm quite sure, if you hadn't seen the kid play, you got to watch a lot of videos and take a lot of other people's word for how good someone is, and it's really tough. But the Power 5 schools, you know, they have the advantage because they're going to go after the top players anyway. But still, you want to get a chance to see them live and talk to them live, and it's been very difficult.
And I know that there's so many questions up in the air. None of us know what's going to happen as far as how it's going to affect us. But the season itself, it gets me to wondering how the season itself might be affected on whether our champion this year may be determined on factors that had to do with the COVID.
You're right, because if someone tests positive for it, then they can't participate. And I just think, this is my opinion alone, and you guys may think, I just think that we can really play conference games and for us at this level, play teams that we can just bus ride to. And I mean by bus ride, we can go over the day of the game and play and then come back to keep everything safe. The big schools have their own charter planes and they can fly in and fly out. So I just think we have to approach stuff totally different than we have in the past. And a lot of the bye games or the road games where at this level you got to fly a commercial flight and go through the airport, I don't think it's really safe because you never know who you may come in contact with. But as long as you're on that bus and you can bus 4 hours and back the same day, I think that's the approach that we should take this season.
Could not agree with you more, Coach. I really do. Anything you got coming up that you like to talk about or get out there?
Nothing really. We're just working hard. Like I said, I'm not working with my team, just with Antoine and been watching a lot of film and watching the stock market every day and just trying to relax and get better with my team. But we have a really good team coming in, and hopefully that we can. It's just a shame because this is our best team, and we may not even have any fans to be able to come to the game. So, but I'm looking forward to it.
So are we, Coach. We're going to make sure that we continue to follow you. And I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out to talk to us today. We really, really appreciate it. Appreciate you being so nice and kind to us. And, well, sir, we'll continue to follow Detroit and make sure that everybody here knows what's going on as well.
Well, I got your text last night. I was wildly excited about today. I haven't talked to Todd in so long. And so I just appreciate you guys thinking about me to give me an opportunity to go on and talk.
I'll be sure to let Fish know that you said hello. He is your biggest fan, so he'll be excited to know I got to talk to you today.
A real quick thing, Fish came to see Antoine play his freshman year. He didn't get a chance to play because he was injured. And last year, Fish missed the game, and Antoine scored like 44 points in the game.
It always works that way. Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again. I really look forward to it. Thank you so much, Coach. I hope you and your family has a great rest of your summer.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.
This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.